All right, so let's go over med ball drills. We'll talk about the chest pass first. First, I want to go over the different types of med balls that you have. You have the sand med ball. Does this one bounce?
No.
Not really, a little bit. Okay, you have, I don't know, what do you want to call this? Heavy duty, smaller type of med ball. Bounces a little bit more. Okay, these are your wall balls. I would call these a wall ball or a slam ball. These are meant for slamming and hitting the wall because they're bigger, you can catch them easier, and you want lighter weight. So this one is 6 pounds. You don't really need you don't need a med ball that's over 6 to 8 pounds. Once you start doing heavier med balls, you actually lower the velocity and speed that you're able to contribute to the force output. So the reason why you do want a lighter med ball is so that you can actually throw it hard and fast. And so for those beginner, newer clients, you usually want 4 or 5 or 6 pound med ball. I wouldn't go over 10 unless you're working with specific athletes, then I might go over 10. But I would probably stay within 4 to 8. This is a 6 pound. This is generally what I would use because I can throw it and catch it without any issues. And then you have your hard shell one. This one's gonna bounce more. This one's gonna be more likely to come back and hit the person in the face. So that's where you have to kind of be careful. That's why when I tell people when we're slamming a ball, is that you don't want too much knee bend. Why? Because you're gonna get hit in the face. And really this is a upper body, overhead shoulder, and core exercise. So you're using core stability, and then you're using overhead shoulder mobility plus force output, slamming it down, catching it. Now the point of a light implement power exercise, these are all light implement power and these are heavy implement power. Light implement power will be done before heavy implement, or if you don't do heavy implement, you'll do light implement power. So you do the power exercises after your dynamic warm-up. Dynamic warm-up includes rolling, breathing, stretching, motor control, active warm-up, or ladder drills. Then you get into light or heavy implement power training, followed by the strength and hypertrophy training, and then conditioning thereafter. So that's our recipe. So different types of med balls. This would be the hard shell med ball that bounces a little bit more. This one, when I throw it down, light knee bend, if any, I'm just catching it. And I'm trying to break the ground, break the wall, break the ball is what I usually say for cues. So break the ball, try to slam it into the ground, try to break it for me. So how many reps do you think I would do for light implement med ball training? How many reps do you think I'll do in a row?
5.
Yep, 5, 6, 4, 4 to 8, 5 to 10, 10 max. Overhead slam, I'll probably do 5 to 10 times, 10 max, 5 at the smaller end. Okay, so let's go into the chest pass. The chest pass, there's different types. There's the kneeling chest pass. So the kneeling chest pass, and we'll get into the other balls in a little bit. Kneeling chest pass, you kneel, tall kneel toward the wall, facing the wall, about a hand width, arm length away or more. Then in a tall kneeling position, elbows next to the sides, you're gonna press forward, slam the ball into the wall, and then catch. If you feel like you need to get a little bit closer for better catching, you can do that. Okay, I can go hips flex, the hips extended, so I can go, or I can stay tall kneeling the whole time. Okay, so that would be the kneeling chest pass. You have the standing chest pass. Okay, and then you have the bent over chest pass. Okay, who wants to do that for me? Eddie?
Yeah.
Let's do it. Start with the tall kneeling chest pass. Let's go for 3 reps. Standing. And then bend over. Push, push, push. Yep. Good. All right, good. Heart rate go up a little bit?
Yeah.
All right, so there's our chest pass. Now we'll move on to our side toss. Side toss can be kneeling, half kneeling, or standing would be the progression. So kneeling, side toss, ball goes into the back pocket. Okay, look at the wall, rotate, catch. It's like a scoop, underneath, scoop, and then right into the wall, okay? That's kneeling. Half kneeling is a lot harder. You have to go the front, the closest leg to the wall is your front leg. So the leg closest to the wall is where you're gonna rotate and toss toward. So there's half kneeling side toss. Woo. Okay, and then standing side toss. Okay. Okay, there's your side toss. All right, who wants to do my side toss for me? Ken? All right, let's try 3 of each. Let's try kneeling to start. Remember, ball's like a scoop throw. Yep. 2, 3. Left leg forward. Good. 2, 3, and then standing. 1, 2, 3. Perfect. Good. All right. So there's our side toss. Now we have our overhead slam. Now the overhead slam can be done with any of these. The sand med ball now is gonna produce more knee bend because that's where you're gonna end up catching it or picking it up. See how much knee bend I need to pick this one up? So if I wanna get more quad here, just like that, okay? That's your overhead slam. With the slam ball, my knees won't bend as much. You let the core stabilize and the arms mobilize. So this is where core stability and mobility will play a factor. Okay? You're trying to go as hard as you can, as fast as you can. Okay? Who wants to do my overhead slam? Who wants to do it for me? Ashley, go! Do it! 5 effort, Ashley. I won't make y'all do the plyos. Let's just do overhead slam. Let's do 3 reps.
You were going up on your
Yeah, you can do that if you want. You don't have to.
Okay.
Maybe just, yep. Woo! There you go. And then try to catch it.
Okay.
Good. Then bend the knees just a little. Yep, soften them on the way down. Good. Let's try one more.
Wait, you said bend my knees? Okay.
Boom! Good, nice job. All right, clap it up, Ash. Okay. Alternating overhead slam. This is when we're gonna pivot our feet. So starting in a split stance. My back toe is on the ground, front foot is on the ground. Then I'm gonna rotate toward the back foot. So I'm gonna rotate overhead, pivot the feet so that I look the same on the other side, and then slam, okay? So overhead slam, this is a slow motion version. And then if I'm doing it as a set, I'm gonna do how many reps per side, do you think?
3.
3 to 5, good. 3 to 5 reps. So I'll do 2 on each side. The way it's supposed to be done, meaning with intensity, right? Because now we're doing light implement and heavy implement power. This is where we have to explode and get the most kind of force output. Using lighter implement strategies because it's going to be safer options for adults. So not all adults are going to do the heavy implement Olympic lifts. something like med ball would be something more adult, okay? So alternating overhead slam. Okay? It might not look perfect, but if you're trying really hard, it probably won't look perfect because you're trying really hard. If I want it to look perfect, I'll go really slow. But when you try really hard, form does go out a little bit. That's okay. Rotational one arm chest pass. Okay, so this is it's like a side toss, but it's more like a shot put. So I have the ball is kind of being, what would you call that? It's kind of like a tee. I'm teeing it up with my back arm, okay? And then just like a rotational pass, but I'm going to use one arm to do the pass. Instead of two arms, it's a rotational one arm. Okay, so that's a one arm rotational chest pass. Then bent over chest pass, we already did that one. That one, you can do that with the sandball. It's gonna be a little bit harder. You can do the alternating overhead slam with this one as well. Remember, this one's just gonna jump back at you a little bit quicker, okay? All right, next. So plyos. We had the box jump, lateral bound, linear hop, lateral hop, medial hop, and then hurdle jumps. So we'll start with the box jump. Does anybody want to be my box jumper? Ken? All right. So we'll start with a 12, and then we'll work our way up. I'll demo, and then have Ken go. So for the box jump, think of it as a box land. You're trying to land softly. Feet shoulder width or hip width, shoulder width apart, like you're just jump up and down. Wherever you land is typically where you're gonna land when you jump. You can do a counter arm action. So counter arm action is when you bring your arm up and then down and then back up again. Or you can have your arms extended. So either or. Some people like one or the other. And then from here, arms back or counter arm. Jump up and land soft. Okay, try not to make a sound. And then land the way you started. Let's try that. Let's try 3 reps. Good. Yep, and land nice and with your knees. Boom. Yep, don't sink down into it, just kind of. Yep. And then step down. Good. One big mistake. All right, thanks, Ken. One big mistake people make is they'll jump up and then they'll jump down. Jumping back down backwards is harder than jumping up. Okay, so don't let them progress too quick. Jumping up onto a box is easier than jumping over a hurdle. Why? Because you don't have to land at, you see when you jump up onto a box, there's less land time and land speed time. So you were to jump, see how much more force I put when I have that much space off the ground compared to when you jump onto a box. It's really the concentric action that's getting you there, okay? So it's that hip explosion that's getting you to jump up onto the box. We don't need to go over 36 inches. It should never be a how high can you jump up onto a box jump. That is not what we would call functional in certified functional strength coach. So 36 would probably be the max. This is what? What do we got here? 36 plus 12. 18 plus 12 is what? 30, right? So we got 30 here. I'm not gonna go over 36, but same thing, counter arm, swing up, and go for, you wanna go for how many reps for the box jump, you think? 5 to 8, okay? Don't need to go more than 10. It's not muscular endurance, it's not muscular hypertrophy. Should be quick, explosive movements, 5, maybe 8 reps, okay? So, counter arm, okay, nice. Woo, I don't wanna do that. Sometimes what you can do is have a box right here, step down and then get off, so the person isn't jumping off each time, okay? So there's your box jump. If you're working with like athletes or kids and you want to experiment with lateral, rotational jumps from side to front or from 180 degrees or jump up and land on one foot, you can do that. Okay, so there's lots of different variations, but we won't get into the variations. Lateral bound. Okay, lateral bound is in what plane of motion? Starts with an F. Frontal plane. So the reason why they have things not only in the sagittal plane, but frontal plane and rotational plane, that's part of the reason why we call it functional, because it's purposeful movement in all 3 planes of motion that have carryover in life or sport. That's what functional training is. So it's not doing everything in the sagittal plane like CrossFit, right? CrossFit is mainly sagittal. Box jumps, power cleans, deadlifts, bench presses, mostly sagittal plane. Lateral bound, frontal plane. So lateral bound, you pick 2 spots, either 2 circles that you're gonna take off and jump onto. What you're gonna do is, if you are jumping to your right, you're going to load the left leg. The back leg will be supporting, similar like a kickstand behind the body. The back leg is gonna explode up like a rainbow and arc over to the other side. That force production is gonna help me land on that leg, and then I reset. So if I were to do a slow version without power, I would just call this a skater step. But if I were to add real power to that, how many reps do you think I would get on each side? Probably only 3. I really don't need to go more than 3 on a one-legged hop. Remember, there's a one-legged hop and land, a lateral bound, right? So I'm taking off on one leg. A leap is when you take off on one leg and land on the other. A lateral bound is when you take off on one leg in the lateral plane and land on the other. So that's a lot of effort on one leg, so that's why you'd only do 3 on each side, okay? Overhead med ball slam, that's 2 arms, right? So lateral bound, looking straight ahead at the horizon. It's always a good cue to look at the horizon, which is usually gonna be straight out in front of you, right? It's not gonna be down here, it's not gonna be up here. And looking at the horizon or straight out in front of you is always gonna be the best head posture for any exercise that you do. Like a shoulder press, bench press, or squat, hinge. Okay, looking at the horizon. So I end up standing tall, right? Or I like to say, stand up like you're being measured. Then people will get out of their posture like, oh, stand up like I'm being measured. Okay, that's how you kind of want to be when you're pressing, pulling, hinging, squatting. Stand up like you're being measured. So here's a lateral bound. Take off on one leg, land on the other in the frontal plane. And then try to stick the landing. Try not to go on the outside edge of the foot like I just did there. So this is where foot stability is important in the arch. Okay, lateral bound. That's a stick. Then you can progress it by continuous, going back and forth without the stick. Then you can add in a mini bounce. So those are 3 progressions for the lateral bound. Medial hop, hurdle hops, 6-inch hops. So for the medial and lateral hop, so medial, if I'm hopping medially, what way am I going? Left or right? Left or right? If I'm jumping medially toward the midline of the body.
Left.
I'm hopping laterally, where am I going? On my right foot.
Right.
Okay, so if you don't have hurdles, you can still do hops and jumps. You can pretend there's hurdles, but like pretend you're jumping over 3 hurdles or hopping over. I don't like hurdles for beginners because it just kind of gets in the way. I'd rather just let them use open space. So here's your linear hop and stick. So it's hop, stick. Okay, right foot linear. Okay, linear hop with linear continuous hop. And then you have your mini bounce. See how that progresses? So that's your hop. Now you have your lateral hop. Medial. Is that continuous or stick?
Continuous.
Continuous. Okay, this would be the stick. Okay. All great plyometric exercises before your warm-up or your workout. These medial hops, lateral hops is going to prevent ACL tears, ankle injuries. If you're not practicing hopping on one leg and it happens in a game, what happens? You might get injured. Now you can't prevent injury, but you can sure attempt to do everything you can to be resilient in all planes of motion, even though you can't really prevent injury. You can do everything you can, but still might not work. Now hurdles, I like the 6-inch, and you have the 12-inch. Does anybody want to demonstrate 6-inch linear hurdle hop? Anybody? What do you think? So this would be continuous. This would be mini bounce. Okay? That's our 6-inch hurdle. Then you have 11 to 12-inch. They obviously get higher and higher. Okay? So you have your linear jump and stick, linear continuous jump, and then linear mini bounce jump. So let's see, where are you on here? Don't have them on here. Yeah, 18 to 36-inch jumps and depth jumps, 6-inch hops. So hurdle, jump, and stick, continuous and bounce is what we're showing you now. Hurdle, jump, these are hurdles. Jumping is on one leg or two? Two. Hopping is on one. Jumping is on two. So arm swing back. Land the way you started. Slight knee bend. This is the stick. Okay. 3 to 5 reps. Okay. You can do lateral jump, although they don't do it that much with CFSC. And then you can also do continuous or the mini bounce. So this would be continuous. Okay. And so you can obviously work your way up. You want the hurdles, the stand to face you. You don't want it like this. Because if you knock it over this way, it just falls. Where This way actually won't fall as easy, so that's kind of how you're supposed to do it. What other questions we have? Depth jumps, 36 and 18. So depth jump is when you stand on a box. Usually it's going to be pretty high, 18, 36. Usually I like to have a box to stand up on, to get up on here, but it's okay if you don't. From here, depth jump is when you're going to step out and then you're going to land in the squat position, or in the ready position. So it's step out, look straight ahead. That's it. So depth jump. Am I eccentrically loading here or concentrically loading?
Eccentric.
Eccentric. So what's the box jump? Concentric. This is eccentric. So this I'm focusing on landing. Is landing harder than jumping?
Yes.
Yes. So is this harder than a box jump?
Yes.
Because of that, right? So 3, 5 reps. Obviously start with smaller box and work your way up. Straight ahead. Okay, land it, stick it, and then from here, you'll see athletes, they'll tie a depth jump in with a vertical jump or a horizontal jump. It'll look like this. That series right there, reactive, plyometric, explosive, how long should I rest for? At least 90 seconds. If I want maximal energy for the next rep, at least 90 seconds, up to 2 minutes. Okay, if you're going more reps, I would wait a little bit longer. Heavy implement will be the last thing that we cover. Does anybody want to go through any of the hurdles before we move to heavy implement? Anybody want to do some medial or lateral hopping? Y'all are good? Okay. All right. So heavy implement refers to anything with heavy weight. I'm surprised I don't have hang clean in there. I should have hang clean. Oh, I do. So we have barbell hang clean, kettlebell swing, single arm, dumbbell snatch. We won't go over the split jerk because that's going to be more Olympic. Certified functional strength coach is more like, what can we do with an athlete, not injure them, and not have to worry about teaching Olympic weightlifting. So like the hang clean, kettlebell swing, single arm, dumbbell snatch are good exercises to teach because they have better learning curves than something like a split jerk. What's another Olympic lift? Oh, barbell snatch. So we do the single arm dumbbell, but we don't do the barbell snatch. You could. Not saying it's not part of their exercise list, but this is what they go over in the functional training book. So we'll just talk about barbell hang clean and then kettlebell swing. So for the barbell hang clean, what type of exercise is this? Is this strength or power exercise?
Power.
It's power, okay? There's light implement power exercises like plyos and med ball drills, and then there's heavy implement power exercises like Olympic lifts, kettlebell swings, okay? So with the barbell hang clean, how far apart do I want my feet? Okay, shoulder width. Okay, now for the barbell hang clean, first thing you want to do is deadlift the bar. So make sure you have good deadlift form. So make sure that they're not just picking it off the ground. You've gone over either the bar with them. At first, you can also use a dowel if you want to go over how to hang clean. So I might start with the dowel. And what I'm basically doing is I'm bending the knees, loading, jump, clean. Okay, they prescribe the jump because the jump is that hip flexion to hip extension. And by jumping, they think you're gonna put more force into it than just keeping your feet on the ground. But I know some people prefer keeping their feet on the ground. The CFSC, they do it a little bit differently. I have a really good video example I just want to show real quick. Jack, does anybody know who Jack Eichel is? He's on the USA men's hockey team. He just won a Stanley Cup with Vegas. He's got a really cool hang clean video I want to show you. Let's see. £300 hang power clean. I'm not sure if he powers it. His power would mean it goes down to the ground. So it's just a hang clean. He's 16 years old in this video. Here's the one dumbbell snatch. Guess where this video is taken? At the exact building that made the certification that you're learning right now. So who built Jack Eichel? Mike Boyle Strength and Conditioning did in Boston, Massachusetts, where Jack was born. He's 16 and doing a 100-pound one-arm dumbbell snatch and a 300-pound hang clean at 16. He went on to win the Stanley Cup, and he plays men's national hockey team. They just lost to Canada the other night. This is Jack Eichel. He played for Buffalo, so I know him really well. But these are the same exercises they've been teaching for 20 years. Notice they're not picking up the trends on sling systems and fascia and all this other. They've kept it real and simple this whole time. That's why it's really easy to believe in their approach when they haven't changed it in 30 years, right? Sometimes you meet people who change their approach every 30 years. See how he's jumping? You get up there, it's not just his feet are planted. Boom. I think I commented, did he train functional patterns before this? It's a joke. His functional patterns would be like, don't ever do that training. So it was just a joke. I've had conversations with Ben and Mike, not Jack, but you know, you'll talk to these people in the field. You'll ask them why they do these things. You DM them. You have to kind of find out for yourself who's the most credible and why they're the most credible. So the hang clean, barbell hang clean, I'm not going to do it that good, but deadlift the bar, looking at the horizon. Okay, I don't mind looking forward and down and then straight ahead like you're being measured. Okay, so it's first starting with the deadlift, and then it's dropping the bar down to the knees, or dropping the bar, sliding it above the knees, and then you're gonna pull it and jump and clean. So it's a squat, pull, and then clean. Squat, here's with the feet on the ground. I get a little bit more power from the jump. Okay, so that's the barbell hang clean. The power clean, which he had labeled, in my opinion, wrong, would be from the ground. So it'd be all the way from the ground. That would be the power. Hang clean is just right above the knees. Kettlebell swing. So what does kettlebell swing work on? What are we emphasizing with the kettlebell swing?
Is it the abductors or no?
Not the abductors. Same thing as the hang clean, same thing as a vertical jump, same thing as a box jump. Loading flexion of the hips, extension. So what is it targeting? Glutes. Same thing with the hang clean. Glutes. Vertical jump. Loading and exploding those big, huge muscles like the glutes. That's where most of our type 2X muscle fibers are. That's the fast twitch muscle fibers that we need to train. If we don't train fast twitch, we'll lose fast twitch. So, in order to train fast twitch, we prescribe power exercises like the kettlebell swing, hip flexion, hip extension, power clean, okay? Single arm dumbbell snatch, okay? It's all coming from here. It's all coming from the hips. So, for example, we gotta get our dumbbell up. Ooh. Ooh, heavy. All right, so we'll get there. Kettlebell. Where do I stand when I'm about to pick up the kettlebell for a swing?
About 3 feet behind.
Wow. Eddie's right. Is that about 3 feet?
Just about.
Okay. What am I making with my feet in kettlebell? Triangle. Okay. So look for the triangle. Triangle setup for the kettlebell swing. Feet are behind. Kettlebell is forward. Hinge over with a flat back. I'm not like this, right? Flat back. Look at the horizon. I'm kind of on my toes a little bit. Look straight ahead. Grip the kettlebell. What's the first thing I do from here? What do you think, Reagan?
Just stand over, like almost like deadlift it.
Then what? What do you think, Caleb? What would you do from here? How would you get this exercise started?
I'd go back and then.
You go back and then forward?
Yeah.
Exactly. So, you set up in the triangle, hinge, back is flat. You swing back, swing forward. We don't need to bring the arms overhead. You're just swinging. The bell will naturally, if you do it right, will go a certain height and will go down automatically. We don't have to use our arms to go up, and we don't have to use our arms to go down. The bell will take care of itself. So it's a quick hip extension. So it's just a quick firing of the glutes, which is what we're doing in sprinting, which is why we can do so much sprinting. Most powerful exercise on earth is sprinting. You can move more distance sprinting than you can do any other movement, right? So all these power exercises are leading us to those high power output, high force output exercises like sprinting, which is what most athletes need to be able to do. And adults, like we said, lose type 2X or fast twitch muscle fibers as they age. So it's really important that adults do things like med ball drills, ladders, some type of plyo, whether it's a 16-inch box jump, and then maybe some type of kettlebell swing. Probably not a hang clean with an adult, but definitely with an athlete. And then the single arm dumbbell snatch, which go over. So it's the triangle setup. Good grip. Okay, we don't want to break the wrists, meaning that it shouldn't be wobbly when we're swinging it. What I'm going to do is get in the hinge position, swing it back, pull it back, and then swing it forward. And then swing it back, and then stand up like I'm being measured. And then continue. How many reps do you think? 5, 8, 10 max. 5 is always a good power number, okay? Most people say like we're gonna do an exercise, power exercise, we're gonna do 30 reps. It's no longer power, okay? It becomes anaerobic endurance. So here we go. Kettlebell swing, set up. Feet shoulder width or a little bit wider. triangle setup, swing it back, swing it forward. Okay, notice that I wasn't bending my knees like this and bringing my head down. You'll see that. It's just a quick hip hinge because it's a hinge exercise. It's the same thing with deadlifting, it's a hinge. So deadlift, the bell's in between the arches, and then it's just grip kettle, stand up, tap and go. Okay? So if the individual, let's just say they can't do that kettlebell swing, I might have them do maybe just a deadlift if they are still working on the swing, just to get their form before the swing, or I would reduce it or regress it to a med ball exercise for that day. So there's the kettlebell swing. Single arm dumbbell snatch. So what I want to show you is, that's 100 pounds. But I want to show you how I get this up if I were to do a overhead tricep. So I do really heavy overhead tricep. How do I get the weight up? So what was all that? Hip flexion, hip extension. So sometimes that power will carry over just how you hold on to weight. So I'm gonna do 75. Let's do 50. All right, so single arm dumbbell. So it's like the hang clean, but it's unilateral, one-sided. So how many do you think each side? 3 to 5. What did Jack do?
5.
About 5 on each side. So he went pretty far down, because with this, it does help to get more knee bend, in my opinion, and even in that video it showed. So for the single arm dumbbell snatch, feet are shoulder width, hold on to the bell in front of the hips, squat down, look straight ahead, and then drive and explode. You're trying to hit the ceiling with the dumbbell. So you're trying to hit the ceiling and then catch it at the top. Obviously don't let go. You're trying to throw it up at the ceiling. Okay, so feet are shoulder width. And then, yeah, you might have to use your arms to kind of get it down, restart. Okay, so again, now I'm introducing an overhead component. So with like the barbell hang clean and the kettlebell swing, we're not getting that much overhead. So now you can think, all right, I want to get a light implement and heavy implement power exercise, but I want to make sure that there's an overhead component to it to build that type of strength. So maybe it's a overhead athlete, like a basketball player who does a lot of reaching overhead, okay? Or maybe it's a baseball player who does a lot of reaching overhead catching, and I want to make sure that they're strong in those end ranges. Then I'm going to do things like med ball slams, throws, single arm snatch, and then maybe like a kettlebell swing wouldn't really reach as much because you're not going overhead. So these are kind of following and leading up to our strength workout. So we've gone over the recipe for a warm-up, which is breathing, rolling, stretching, and activation, followed by that active warm-up, which can be done with ladders or it can be done without ladders. Then you go into your light or heavy implement power training. So I might partner 2 power exercises and a core exercise. So I could do like a med ball slam and then a kettlebell swing. So I could do 8 med ball slams followed by 5 swings, and then do a bear plank for 10 to 13 seconds and then rest to be able to get 2 power exercises in that as opposed to maybe just 1. So when you're working with athletes and adult populations, you might not have time to do 1 power exercise, then another power exercise followed by another exercise, because you might not have that much time. So you might partner some exercises with like 2 to 3 reps, like 2 to 3 hang cleans and 5 kettlebell swings. You're gonna get a little bit more bang for your buck than just doing like 1 or 2 things. And so when you look at how they structure their training programs, you'll see how that works. Okay. So roll to activate, 10 minutes, foam rolling, and these stretches. Okay, notice that there's a little bit of mobility and stability. Floor slide and quad hip extension are going to be your stability, and then you have 4 mobility with your rolling, which should be 10 minutes. And then you have your dynamic warm-up, which is, in this day, is going to be what we went over today. And then, say, on your middle day, you're thinking of maybe Wednesday is more lateral focused exercises, things in the frontal plane of motion. And Monday, Friday is things more sagittal. So you can also do it like that. They've done that too, where they'll have a warm-up that is a linear warm-up Monday, Friday, and a lateral warm-up on Wednesday. Or you can do multi-directional warm-ups one day a week. So here's tall kneeling chest pass, standing med ball slam, and a box jump. 3x5, 3x5, 3x5. Half kneeling side toss, med ball overhand throw, lateral bound. Then they get into strength. Sometimes you'll see that kettlebell swing first. Sometimes the kettlebell swing can be used as a strength exercise or vice versa. There's a couple other exercises like that. But notice that kettlebell swing is a hip dominant exercise. Then they have a standing 1 leg calf raise followed by a straight leg sit up. So it looks like they're doing a little bit of calf work and a little bit of sit ups after the kettlebell swing, which these exercises here are not that hard compared to a kettlebell swing, but they try to partner 3 exercises together so that they're getting more bang for their buck in each pod. And so they would do a tricep. This would probably be more advanced because there is 3 exercises. Sometimes you'll see like kettlebell swing followed by like a push-up and then followed by like a mobility exercise. So it doesn't have to be 3 exercises in a row. It could be like strength followed by stability and mobility if it's like phase 1. So this is probably not a beginner program. See if I can find something else. Yeah, so this would be something that so, let's see if we get this out. It's pretty similar, but I think you're kind of getting the point here when it comes to all this stuff. And then here's a progressions and regressions sheet that will actually go over all the different categories like anti-rotation, horizontal press, vertical pull, hip dominant, and it will go over in order. So for example, power, shuttle jump, jump squat with stick, continuous jump squat, and med ball or weighted vest jump squat. So those are some power exercises that don't need any equipment. So shuttle jump is just jumping in the air. Shuttle jump squat with a stick. So keeping a stick in the hand. And then a continuous jump squat. So going all the way down, so squatting and jumping, and then adding a weighted vest to that. Kettlebell swing, notice that the kettlebell deadlift is a regression of the swing, and then a regression of the deadlift would be a toe touch progression. So having them touch their toes, having them elevate their heels and touch their toes, that type of thing. So we'll get more into the strength and exercises in, I think, after spring break. But next class we'll have a session on kind of all of our exercises we've gone through in phase 2, and this Thursday will be the end of phase 2. When you get back, we'll have our phase 2 test in 2 weeks. Okay, so that's going to be it for today. Appreciate it. We'll see you on Thursday. Yes, we do. Yes.